And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have blasted the author Tom Bower, whose new book has damning new revelations about the couple. Let's get reaction from Talk's royal correspondent Rupert Bell. Here, the Sussexes are not happy. There's trouble in paradise.
Yes, it's accusations that Meghan said, get your finger out of my face. All sorts of allegations that basically William and
A new wave of controversy has emerged around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle following the publication of fresh allegations in a book by royal author Tom Bower. The Sussexes have publicly criticized the writer, describing his latest work as misleading and highly critical of their role within the royal family. According to reports,
allegations of bullying, and he's further highlighting the rift between the Sussexes and the Waleses. In a nutshell, they, of course...
The new book contains a series of claims regarding tensions between the Sussexes and other members of the monarchy, particularly during the early stages of their relationship and marriage. The author highlights disputes that allegedly occurred within the royal household, including disagreements involving Prince William. Commentary surrounding the book suggests that Prince William had previously advised his younger brother to proceed cautiously in the early stages of his relationship with Meghan Markle. At the time, the future king was reportedly concerned that the relationship was progressing too quickly. These concerns, according to the book, later became part of a broader narrative describing a growing divide between the Sussexes and the Prince and Princess of Wales. The author also revisits long-standing allegations regarding workplace tensions.
Heads turned, and the entire room seemed to freeze. The crowd watched in complete silence, realizing they might be witnessing something awkward unfolding in real time.
While these allegations have circulated in the media before, the book reportedly expands on them, describing the circumstances in greater detail. Representatives for the Sussexes have strongly rejected the accusations, arguing that the author has consistently portrayed them negatively. According to the couple's response, the book relies on speculation rather than factual reporting. They also maintain that the claims presented in the publication misrepresent both their personal actions and their relationship with the royal family. Despite the strong criticism directed at the book, observers have noted that the Sussexes have not taken legal action against the author. For some royal commentators, that decision is significant. Publishing houses typically require authors to undergo a rigorous legal review process before making potentially controversial claims public. As a result, books dealing with royal matters often rely heavily on documented sources and interviews with individuals familiar with the events described. Analysts note that the absence of a lawsuit does not necessarily confirm the accuracy of the claims, but it has nevertheless fueled public debate. Some commentators argue that pursuing legal action could potentially draw even greater attention to the allegations, while others believe it would provide an opportunity to challenge the claims directly in court. The controversy has intensified as additional details
about how
from the
Meghan
book
and
continue
Harry
to circulate
that had always looked perfectly controlled. Prince Harry was still
a reported disagreement during the Sussexes' official tour of Australia in 2018.
Okay?
No,
according to the
Harry
author, tensions arose during the trip over issues related to scheduling and expectations surrounding royal duties. One claim that has attracted particular attention suggests that Meghan Markle
always looked
questioned
perfectly
why she
controlled.
was not
Prince
receiving
Harry
payment for certain royal engagements at the time. Critics cited this remark as evidence of a misunderstanding regarding the nature of royal service, which traditionally involves carrying out duties on behalf of the monarchy rather than receiving direct personal compensation. At the same time, the book portrays these incidents as contributing to a broader narrative of disagreement between the Sussexes and the palace establishment. Observers say such claims reinforce the idea that the relationship between the couple and the royal institution became increasingly strained during their early years as working royals. For now, the Sussexes continue to dispute the book's portrayal of events. However, as more excerpts from the publication emerge, the debate surrounding its claims and the impact on the couple's public image appears far from over. And with additional revelations from the book expected to surface, royal watchers are now waiting to see whether the growing controversy will further deepen the divide between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. As debate surrounding the new publication continues, attention has increasingly focused on the role of author Tom Bower and his long-standing criticism of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The book is being described by commentators as another highly critical examination of the couple's time within the British royal family and the events that followed their departure from official duties. Observers note that the author has previously published works examining controversial figures connected to the monarchy. As with those earlier publications, this latest book has reportedly undergone extensive legal scrutiny before its release. Publishing experts explain that authors producing investigative biographies, especially those dealing with prominent public figures, are typically required to ensure that claims can withstand potential legal challenges. That process is particularly significant given the Sussexes' history of legal action in other contexts. Over the past several years, the couple have been involved in multiple court proceedings involving media organizations. For this reason, some analysts find it notable that no legal complaint has been filed in response to the latest book. Commentators suggest there may be several reasons for this. One possibility is that legal action could amplify public interest in the allegations, potentially extending the media cycle around the controversy. Another explanation frequently mentioned by royal observers is that the legal threshold required to challenge such a publication may be complex and time-consuming. Despite rejecting the author's claims, representatives for the Sussexes have issued strong public statements criticizing the book. In those responses, the couple described the publication as an example of commentary that has moved beyond criticism into what they characterize as persistent hostility. The statement from the Sussex camp argued that the author has built a narrative based on speculation rather than personal knowledge. According to the response, the writer has never had direct contact with the couple, and the Sussexes maintain that many of the claims rely on anonymous sources rather than verifiable evidence. However, the controversy intensified further when additional claims from the book began appearing in serialized excerpts published in British newspapers. One particularly striking allegation, cited by commentators, involves a remark attributed to Queen Camilla. According to the excerpt, Queen Camilla is reported to have expressed concern that Meghan Markle had a powerful influence over Prince Harry, with some interpretations suggesting that the prince had become heavily guided by his wife's perspective during major decisions. Royal commentators say such claims reflect long-standing speculation about the dynamics within the Sussex marriage and how it may have influenced Harry's relationship with the rest of the royal family. Analysts note that similar concerns were reportedly expressed during the early stages of the relationship, when Prince William is said to have encouraged his brother to take more time before marrying. According to accounts discussed in the book, Harry's relationship with Meghan developed rapidly, and he became deeply committed to the partnership. Observers say this intense personal loyalty may have contributed to decisions that later reshaped his role within the monarchy, including the couple's eventual move to the United States. For critics of the Sussexes, the claims reinforce the idea that Harry distanced himself from traditional royal networks after the marriage. Supporters of the couple, however, argue that such narratives overlook the personal autonomy of both individuals and reduce complex family dynamics to oversimplified interpretations. As the serialized excerpts continue to attract media attention, analysts say the controversy is unlikely to fade quickly. The book's claims have reopened debates about the Sussexes' relationship with the royal family and the events that ultimately led to their departure from official duties. And as more details emerge from the publication, the next issue drawing attention among royal watchers concerns the potential impact these allegations may have on the Sussexes' public image and future projects. As discussion around the book intensifies, another theme gaining attention involves the personal relationships of Prince Harry following his marriage to Meghan Markle. According to several commentators and sources cited in the publication by Tom Bauer, Harry's connections with many of his longtime friends reportedly changed significantly after the relationship began. One of the claims circulating in media coverage suggests that the prince gradually distanced himself from members of his previous social circle. Some accounts indicate that he reduced contact with friends he had known for many years, including individuals who had been part of his personal life since his youth. Royal observers say that such changes are not entirely unusual when individuals enter new relationships or move into different stages of life. However, in Harry's case, the shift reportedly appeared more dramatic to those who had known him for much of his adult life. Several former associates have previously commented publicly on the transformation in Harry's lifestyle and routines. According to those remarks, activities that once formed part of his social life, such as traditional sporting outings or shooting weekends often enjoyed by members of the British aristocracy, were gradually reduced or stopped altogether. Some commentators have linked these changes to Meghan Markle's personal preferences, suggesting she was not comfortable with certain traditions or social activities that had long been common among Harry's circle of friends. Critics interpret this shift as evidence that the prince became increasingly separated from the environment in which he had grown up. Supporters of the Sussexes, however, argue that such interpretations are often exaggerated. They note that many people naturally reevaluate friendships and lifestyle choices as their priorities evolve. From that perspective, Harry's changes may reflect a personal decision to adopt a different way of life rather than the influence of any single individual. Nevertheless, the book's portrayal suggests that the prince's social world narrowed considerably during the years leading up to the couple's move to the United States. Some sources cited in the publication claim that Harry even changed contact details, including his phone number, making it more difficult for certain acquaintances to reach him. Such accounts have contributed to the broader narrative that the prince became increasingly isolated from parts of his former life. Royal commentators often link this development to the wider breakdown in relations between Harry and other members of the royal family. At the center of this narrative is the ongoing tension between the Sussexes and the household of Prince William. While disagreements between siblings are not uncommon, analysts say the dispute between the two princes has taken on a particularly public dimension over the past several years. The situation reportedly worsened following the Sussexes' decision to step back from their roles as senior working royals and relocate to the United States. That move created both geographical and institutional distance between Harry and the rest of the royal family. Since settling in California, the couple have pursued a range of media and commercial projects. These ventures, including podcasting, documentary productions, and charitable initiatives, have aimed to establish a new independent identity separate from the formal structure of the monarchy. However, critics argue that the couple's public discussions about their royal experiences have also intensified tensions within the family. Supporters counter that the Sussexes are simply sharing their perspective after years of intense media scrutiny. With the latest book once again bringing these issues into the spotlight, observers say the debate over Harry's personal transformation and the influence of his marriage will likely continue. As the discussion unfolds, attention is now shifting toward another key question raised by the book: how these ongoing controversies may affect the Sussexes' efforts to rebuild their public brand and professional reputation in the years ahead. As debate around the latest royal biography continues, attention has increasingly shifted toward the future of the public image and commercial ventures of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Observers say the claims discussed in the book by Tom Bauer come at a particularly sensitive time, as the couple attempt to rebuild their brand following several high-profile changes in their professional partnerships. Over the past few years, the Sussexes have pursued a strategy centered around media production, public speaking, and brand development. Their goal, according to analysts, has been to establish themselves as independent public figures operating outside the formal structure of the monarchy. However, critics argue that this transition has not always been smooth. Several partnerships and projects have faced challenges, which commentators say has made the couple's public reputation more vulnerable to criticism. One example frequently cited involves the couple's media collaborations with major streaming and audio platforms. While some of their content has attracted global attention, not all projects have continued as originally planned. Industry observers say the competitive nature of the entertainment business means that such partnerships often evolve or end depending on performance, audience engagement, and broader strategic decisions by companies. Supporters of the Sussexes emphasize that leaving royal duties was always likely to involve a complex adjustment period. Building a new professional identity while maintaining global public interest is not an easy task, especially when every decision is closely followed by international media. Nevertheless, the latest book has reignited debate about whether ongoing controversies could complicate those efforts. Royal commentators say public perception remains one of the most important factors shaping the couple's long-term success in media and business ventures. The book also revisits earlier moments that contributed to tensions between the Sussexes and other members of the royal family. Among the figures frequently mentioned in the broader discussion is Prince William, whose relationship with his younger brother has reportedly remained strained for several years. Analysts say the contrast between the two brothers' paths has become increasingly visible. While Prince William continues to prepare for his future role as king alongside Catherine, Princess of Wales, Harry has chosen a very different direction, focusing on projects in the United States and speaking publicly about issues such as mental health and media accountability. This divergence has sometimes been interpreted by commentators as a symbolic divide between two visions of royal life, one rooted firmly within the institution, and another attempting to operate outside it while still maintaining global influence. At the same time, royal historians note that periods of internal disagreement have occurred many times throughout the long history of the British monarchy. Family tensions, generational differences, and public scrutiny have often shaped the way the institution evolves over time. For that reason, some analysts believe the current controversies surrounding the Sussexes may ultimately become part of a broader historical chapter rather than a permanent defining feature of their public story. Still, the release of new allegations and renewed media coverage means that the debate surrounding the couple shows little sign of fading in the near future. Every new claim, interview, or public appearance continues to spark fresh discussion among royal watchers and commentators around the world. As the conversation continues, many observers are now looking toward the final question raised by the ongoing controversy: whether the Sussexes can successfully rebuild their public reputation and move beyond the conflicts that have dominated headlines in recent years. As the discussion surrounding the latest royal biography continues to unfold, many observers are now focusing on the broader implications for the future of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The claims presented in the book by Tom Bower have once again placed the couple at the center of intense public debate, raising questions about both their relationship with the royal family and the direction of their public careers. For several years, the Sussexes have attempted to reshape their global image by focusing on independent initiatives. These include charitable projects, media productions, and speaking engagements aimed at highlighting issues such as mental health awareness, media accountability, and social impact. Despite these efforts, the couple continue to face significant scrutiny from both critics and supporters. Royal commentators often note that few modern public figures attract as much attention as the Sussexes. Every statement, appearance, or project is closely examined by international audiences and media outlets. One of the major challenges for the couple has been balancing their personal narrative with the expectations of the public. Since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, they have spoken openly about their experiences within the institution. These revelations, shared through interviews, documentaries, and publications, have provided insight into their perspective, but they have also contributed to ongoing tensions with the monarchy. At the center of those tensions remains the complicated relationship between Harry and his brother, Prince William. Although both princes once appeared inseparable during public engagements and charitable work, their relationship has reportedly cooled in recent years. Royal historians suggest that this distance reflects not only personal disagreements, but also the very different responsibilities now facing the two brothers. Prince William, as heir to the throne, carries the responsibility of preserving the stability and reputation of the monarchy. Harry, by contrast, has chosen to pursue a life outside the institution, focusing on projects that align with his own priorities and values. Observers say that these diverging paths make reconciliation more complicated, though not impossible. Throughout the long history of the British monarchy, periods of family conflict have eventually been followed by reconciliation or at least a quieter coexistence. Meanwhile, the Sussexes continue to explore opportunities to strengthen their professional presence internationally. Public appearances, brand collaborations, and philanthropic efforts remain central to their strategy as they seek to build influence beyond the royal framework. However, analysts note that rebuilding public trust and shaping a consistent narrative will require time. Controversies such as the latest book ensure that past disagreements remain part of the public conversation, even as the couple attempts to focus on future goals. For supporters, The Sussex story represents a modern example of individuals seeking independence from a traditional institution. For critics, it raises questions about loyalty, responsibility, and the impact of public disputes on the monarchy's reputation. What remains clear is that interest in the Sussexes shows no sign of fading. Whether through books, interviews, or public appearances, the story continues to evolve, and with it, the global fascination surrounding one of the most talked-about royal couples of the modern era. As the debate surrounding the latest revelations continues, many royal watchers believe the coming years will ultimately determine how history remembers the Sussex chapter within the wider story of the British royal family.